You are watching TGZ TV.
The Global Zambian, the only magazine that celebrates quality, cross-culture lifestyle and entertainment.
Hello, good evening and welcome back to yet another episode of, well, actually it's not the Real Housewives of Lagos, that's what I was about to say. Because honestly, this episode was absolutely amazing. I mean, okay, let me not actually overstretch it. It started a bit slow, then it kind of sped up and it just went absolutely insane, you know. So right now I've had to do quite a lot to try and get this live to come to you guys tonight, honestly believing. So I'm hoping you can stay with me, stick with me, and hope nothing goes awry. I pray to God that everything goes well tonight. But before we do that, I'm just going to quickly say hello to everybody that's come through. Hello there. Hello, Stephanie. Welcome to the live. Hey, Abies. Welcome. Hey, Powerful. Welcome. What an episode, Ava says. What an episode indeed. Powerful is getting right into it, saying, I can't stand Laura. We are literally gonna get into that because honestly, the whole situation is absolutely insane. You know, if honestly, it's absolutely insane. So let me see. What I'm going to do is, first of all, as usual, before I do forget, obviously, is go through some housekeeping as I usually do. Obviously, if you're watching over from YouTube, please do not forget to click on that like button of the video that you're watching right now. And of course, if you are not yet a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Why are you not subscribed just as yet? Make sure that you click on that subscribe button, and of course the bell button. Do not forget to click on it so that you can receive notifications and updates every time we upload new content, and of course every time we come live, as we are right this second. And of course, those people who are watching us over on Facebook, please do not forget to click like on the video that you are watching right this moment. And of course, do not forget to follow the pages that you are watching from, as well as tweak the notifications so that you can receive alerts every time we go live, as we are right now. And of course, every time we upload new content on our website, TGZ Mag, where we post news, updates, entertainment, current affairs, you name it, it's all there. That gets posted automatically on the pages that you are watching from right this moment. Right. And so now let's try and see if we can get right into this episode. I want to say 7. Yeah. Episode 7 is the one that we are currently watching, and quite a lot, okay, has transpired in this particular episode. It started off slow, like I said, and then it literally just went from 0 to 100 really, really quickly. but in the dramatic way that you were like, oh snap. I was literally like that, like, oh, like the Kenya Moore gif, literally all the tea was just spilling everywhere. And we're gonna get to that towards the end, because boy, oh boy, oh boy. I mean, it was so spicy towards the end that they wrote to be continued. Okay, it did not end there. There is a lot more to come, and I am here entirely for it. Okay, and so let's get right into the episode. Where does it start? Obviously, the episode begins. They do the usual rerun of what happened, a recap of what happened last week. And one of the first scenes they grace us with is the scene where we have Toyin, and she's having a conversation with Iyabo's daughter. Iyabo's daughter is over by her studio, and it is Iyabo's daughter's 21st birthday, Iyabo, the 21st birthday for her daughter. And it turns out that apparently Toyin has actually been styling her daughter since she was really young. And so this time around, she styled her, and she styled her in preparation for her 21st birthday party photo shoot, So they sat down, they're having a conversation. And at the same time, obviously, you've got Toyin with Iyabo is actually on the phone during that time. And, they're kind of talking about what happened in the previous episode, where Iyabo obviously got on the catwalk, and where Toyin made a commentary saying that, shouldn't Iyabo have been the one to be wearing what the daughter was wearing and the other way around? And they were kind of laughing about that. And I just want to point out something about this particular scene. First of all, I love what Toyin is wearing. And I'm intrigued by what Iyabo's daughter is wearing, because at first, I'll be very honest with you, I didn't know it was going to be for her 21st birthday party photo shoot. I thought it was a Halloween costume, because it looks like, a witch's costume. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. It looks good, but it kind of resembles a bit of a witch's costume. I don't know about you, but that's kind of like the vibe that it kind of gives me. Either way, she actually looked amazing. And the person who actually photographed her happens to be Toyin's husband. He's the one who photographed her for the shoot. I think the piece kind of like it's wrapped and then it kind of comes off. So she kind of had like a bit of a variation in the outfit that she had on. So that was quite interesting. And so after they, which yeah, it kind of, gave witch costume vibes kind of thing, so and that's what I thought. I honestly thought it was a Halloween costume. I didn't think it was any, because like the hat was massive, and then the outfit, and then she had the long nails, to kind of go with it, so that kind of added to the situation, so I thought, oh, then when I found out, I was like, oh, it was for her birthday. I was like, oh, okay, interesting choice, but then again, Toyin's taste and I think her way of styling things is quite eccentric. So I would love to see how the finished product actually looked like. Maybe she looked less like she was wearing a witch costume and more like, okay, this is a fashionable, stylish, photo shoot for my birthday. I'm hoping, so after that, basically, it goes over to, if I'm not mistaken, they kind of, this is they always have this filler scenes, and this was a bit of a filler scene. There was not too much going on in the scene. So the next scene that they actually go over to is to Mariam's scene, where she is at her house in her backyard, and basically she is having a conversation with her sister. That is her sister that you see sitting on the left. I want to say the left, yes. And the dude behind the bar is actually Mariam's husband. You must have seen him in the intro. If you watch the show, he's actually in the intro of the show. And telling from his accent, I think he might possibly be from the United States of America. There's a high chance he could be Canadian as well, because the twang in American and Canadian accents are similar. Because I haven't heard him speak, longer sentences and things like that, where you can actually be are able to differentiate between the Canadian and the American accent. You know how Canadians say a boat and things like that. I haven't heard him use those words that kind of like can give it up that he's Canadian, so I'm not so sure. So he could be American, he could be Canadian, but he definitely has a Northern American accent. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of like, because I was always curious where he was from, And so they're talking about what, you know, she's talking about what she's prepping for the ladies, etc., that sort of thing. And for the first time, I actually see Mariam's hair actually looking really good. Not that it was really bad before, but it did leave a lot to be desired to a degree. But in this particular scene, I'm like, okay, I'm liking this. I'm really, really liking this. And then obviously, when that happens, they go to the confessionals and we start to see the new confessional looks. And I was like, okay, we are giving. And so now we're going to quickly jump into the confessional looks for the ladies, and we're going to carry on with the rest of the scene. So this is Mariam's new confessional look. The hair is laid. Honestly, the outfit is amazing. I mean, yeah, them girls are kind of sitting on pretty right there, like real pretty. They're really sitting. They are sitting. Okay, but this is definitely Mariam's best confessional look that I've seen her in. And then lo and behold, Lauren has got a new look, you know, sequins dress, you know, the hair is laid nicely and it's pushed back. Again, this is her second look that I have actually approved. I feel I have approved. And I do love the way this look looks. You know, it looks really good. The only thing criticism I would have for Laura is I think her posture is quite bad. I think she slouches quite a lot. And so I feel like sometimes that doesn't help display the outfits the way they're supposed to be displayed. And then a look that I think I overlooked, no pun intended in the wording, is Toyin's. Okay, Toyin's look from last week, I mentioned, you know, it was kind of like a suit kind of situation. I did forget to add it in last week's stream, but this was the look, and she still carried the look in this particular episode, but this was the actual look. And I did not notice her having a brand new look, if truth told, you know, in this episode. As a matter of fact, I didn't even see one from Iyabo. I didn't see one from Iyabo either. Caroline did come with a new look. This was her look. She went for a more simple, traditional look. So I like it. You know, it's not out there. Her face, her hair looks very nice and simple, but it actually, for some reason, it works. Because of that, I like it because it works, you know. It's not outlandish and then not working like the one that she did last week. Last week, I don't know what was going on with that one, you know. And then Chioma comes in with her very grandiose look with the, you know, ascot hat and the dress. I love the dress. I think it's a dress. I'm hoping it's a dress. But this look does work. Was the hat necessary? I honestly don't think so. I feel like she probably would have been better off matching it maybe with a bedazzled jewel or something in the head, and that would have sufficed. I don't think the hat was necessary because the rest of the look does work. I'm not so sure about the hat in itself, if truth be told, you know. And I think that's pretty much all the confessional looks for the ladies. And so when we finish off with Mariam, they honestly quickly go over to the actual event that Mariam is holding, which is the ladies obviously coming over to her house for the little get together that she has organized. Obviously, this is going to be the first time they're going to actually be seeing her home, because I think for the most part, a lot of them have been to each other's houses. The only one that probably could protest to having been attest to having been to Mariam's house before is only Toyin, because they've been friends for a really long time. And so they get to Mariam's house, and the first people to actually arrive are Iyabo and Toyin, because they actually arrived together. And for those who don't know, obviously Toyin's other name is Tiana, but I'm used to calling her Toyin at this point because that's what she was introduced as in the very first episode. And I actually love Toyin's outfit. It's really beautiful. The color matches, it's like the color block, should I say. It works really well with the yellow and the red. Yabo's outfit is more kind of simpler and cute, but it actually also works, you know. It actually also really works. And so they get there, as you can see on arrival, they are greeted with some champagne, you know, and they admire her home. Iyabo says, you know, her home is absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And I can also attest to that, like her home is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's interesting. Outside, it looks like a townhouse. But when you look at it on the inside, you're like, whoa, it looks really massive. So that's kind of interesting. You know, that's actually intrigued me. And so afterwards, obviously the third person to arrive is Laura. So they're all sitting, you know, they're chatting away, and Mariam actually comes and she starts to greet them all. And when she goes to greet Laura is a little bit standoffish. And so Mariam is like, what's going on? Why is she not trying to greet me properly? You know, what is happening? So, you know, Mariam is kind of like a little bit, you know, curious as to exactly what is going on in that particular situation, because she's like, okay, has something happened? Did I miss something? You know, why is she being this way? But obviously we see the confessional when Laura's arriving. She's like, you know, she's feeling a bit off, having a bit of off day, whatever's going on. You know, she says she's not unwell, she's just feeling a bit off. You know, and I'm just like, oh gosh, here we go again. Laura's gonna cause drama. Just when she redeemed herself last week, where she didn't cause any drama, she was not even trying to take anything to heart. I was like, okay, we're good. But then this happens, and I'm just like, oh gosh. I was actually dreading what was gonna, you know, come out of Laura's mouth, you know, and something does happen, but not quite as yet. So the ladies are still chilling, you know, and waiting for the other two ladies who are clearly late at this point. Okay, they are clearly late at this point, and the women are getting a little bit agitated. Everyone is kind of getting a little bit antsy, if truth be told, you know, and eventually they arrive, you know, Chioma and Caroline, you know, they arrive and they're actually late. No, they're like, was it 4 hours late? The 4 hours late, which in my opinion, I think is extremely disrespectful. You know, extremely disrespectful. By this time, the other ladies are actually sat down and waiting for them and discussing. And at this point, Laura is saying, guys, you know, are you not irritated? I think she was like, are you not upset? Are you not upset? Because this is not good. This is not good. And so she's basically pushing the other women to get really super upset. It's obvious that it's an upsetting situation. It's obvious that no one likes, you know, people being late to that extent. It's one thing to be 10 minutes late or etc., that sort of thing, but to be 4 hours late, what were you doing with your time when you knew this was already scheduled? You were invited way in advance, okay, for this particular occasion, and you are 4 hours late. And so to a degree, I was in agreement with Laura. I'll be honest with you, you know, I was in agreement with Laura, because it's like, yeah, like for real, guys, like, you know, I would be upset. I would be offended, because especially if I'm the host, you know, because I feel it's not a very nice thing to do, to arrive that late at someone's event. You know, I think especially if it's at their home, it's absolutely disrespectful. And I feel like it was very disrespectful for them to be that late, you know. And eventually, you know, they come in, obviously, and Chioma comes in carrying some flowers. You know, I must say though, out of all the outfits for this evening, my favorite one isn't, in as much as I like Toyin's, my favorite one is actually Chioma's. I love the jumpsuit. I love a good jumpsuit. And the fact that this was not a dress, from the top, it looks like it might have been a dress, but it's actually an entire jumpsuit. And I do love that. And so they do arrive, and, you know, she brings flowers, which kind of tones down Mariam's reaction, because she was ready to go in on them, but the flowers made her a little bit more calm, you know, which is kind of fair in the sense that she honestly didn't want any drama. And so as they sit on the table, you know, they start to discuss obviously the lateness of the ladies. You know, they give she assigns them where they're supposed to sit down, which it turns out where they were standing in the first place after they picked their numbers, like the other ladies picked before, but where the designated places they needed to sit down anyways. So you found that Chioma was now sat right next to Laura, and whereas Caroline was sat next to Iyabo, and obviously Toyin next to Iyabo as well, and then Mariam next to Chioma. And so, you know, as the ladies are going along, you know, they're chatting away, kind of like trying to enjoy the night. Iyabo does call out the other ladies for their lateness. You know, she addresses them, and she basically, let me go to that. She addresses them and basically tells them to say, look, you guys, it is not nice for you to be late. You know, you have to make an effort. Obviously, for the most part, that conversation was actually mainly focused on Chioma, because obviously, as the episodes have been going, to be honest, I have not been entirely sure between Chioma and Caroline who was the late comer, because obviously the ladies would complain, oh, you know, the ladies are always late, blah blah blah, but I wasn't sure whether it was both of them always late, you know, or one of them being late and kind of like swapping it around. But it turns out Chioma is the biggest culprit in the lateness, you know. Yes. So was it a Chioma outfit upset? Yeah, it upset Laura. Listen, I found that so interesting, because in the confessional, Laura suddenly says, I don't know who Chioma thinks she is, you know. She thinks that the outfit she wears is going to intimidate me. And I'm thinking, so you think that when Chioma's getting ready, she goes in her wardrobe and goes, let me pick an outfit that I think is going to intimidate Laura the most, or is going to, I didn't understand that. Like, where is it coming from? The person, if you've already been how many scenes have you shot with Chioma by now? Chioma literally goes all the way out with every single one of her outfits for herself. She's not doing it to show you out. She's thinking to herself, I'm on the Housewives show. I'm going to show out every single moment I get. It's got nothing to do with you. The fact that you think that this woman thinks she's going to intimidate you with an outfit, that for me is like, are you okay, Laura? Are you okay? Like, it's quite disturbing to think like that. It's weird. I honestly personally find it very bizarre. I don't know about you guys. I actually found that very, very bizarre for her to point out something like that. So I was like, okay, that's a bit of a strange comment to make over someone's choice of outfits, especially the fact that this person is always outlandish with their outfits. They go all out with their outfits. You think they're doing it just to upset you or intimidate you? For what reason, though? Like, for what reason would they want to intimidate you at every single given moment? It doesn't make sense to me. That was very, very bizarre. But then again, it literally was one of the weird things that Laura was doing throughout the night. So like I said, Iyabo actually calls them out and tells them, you can't be late, this and the other. In Chioma's confessional, she goes to say, oh, I'm the one who's always late. I do own it. I accept, I accept the award for being the person that's always late, etc. That sort of thing. And she accepts that. She takes responsibility. She owns it. She acknowledges it, and she's willing to take accountability for it and everything. And eventually, obviously, Iyabo actually does mention to say Chioma. And she's like, yeah, I was waiting for you to actually mention my name because I know that I'm the one, that sort of thing. But at one point, they kind of discuss it a little bit more. And in the confessionals, Chioma's getting a bit irritated because she's like, all right, guys, fine, you've lectured me. You can't keep lecturing me like I'm a child because there's only so much I can apologize. And the apology will mean nothing in the end, I'm not going to mean my apology anymore, which I think is fair enough. Address it and keep it moving. And thankfully, eventually they did keep it moving just before Caroline actually ended up just giving a full-blown apology saying, I know, we're really sorry. It was very disrespectful of us to actually come so late. You've got your child, you need to sort out your child, and for us to keep you waiting like this in your own home as well, it's not nice and it's disrespectful, and we are sorry for that. And then they turn around again to Chioma to say, what have you got to say? For Chioma's like, but I've already been apologizing. So the good thing is, it seems Chioma and Mariam have got good banter between them, and so that did not stick, or stay like something that's really negative and nasty. They kind of like, kept it moving. And so thank goodness that happened. But unfortunately, the next scene is just like, oh my gosh, because what do we see now as they are like, chatting away, trying to enjoy themselves? None other than Laura is literally just giving resting bee face, moody. She was just so moody. She was just bringing down the entire atmosphere. At one point she was slouching, she would get up and people were saying, okay, is she drunk? What's the situation? At one point she was having a conversation with Toyin, and she was telling Toyin, I don't really understand this. I'm not used to this kind of atmosphere. I'm not used to this kind of situation because, I'm not used to sitting down. Even in confessional, she says, I'm not used to sitting down with this dinner type, thing where everyone is just sat down and just chatting away. I'm thinking, girl, how many dinners have you guys had so far? And you're going to say you're not used to this? Stop it. So I really don't know exactly what was going on in Laura's mind, but later on we do find that it might have been she had been a bonnet again for like acting time for Caroline, for something again that we clearly did not see. Because I feel like if it's the lateness, which Caroline, we've proven that Caroline is actually not notorious for, is Chioma, why are you going to get the ump so much over something so trivial? In my opinion, there's more to it than meets the eye, because we do get to find out in next week's episode, and I, for one, cannot wait. So in the midst of her being a moody, grumpy Grinch of a woman, Toyin is there trying to, like, cheer her up and everything. And then you see Iyabo in the confessionals going, Toyin is busy trying to cheer Lauren up. I suppose she must like Lauren. I was like, oh, is that shade? Is that shade? Iyabo says she must like Laura. Basically, almost saying nobody else likes Laura up in here. you know. And so as Toyin is trying to cheer her up, what does Laura decides to say? She goes, you're doing too much. She tells her literally, you're doing too much. In Iyabo's confessional, her jaw dropped. In Toyin's confessional, Toyin was like, F you, it's the last time I'm going to try and make you feel comfortable. It's the last time I'm going to try and make you feel special and cheer you up in a situation. She was done with her. And so after that, I think the other ladies just decided to just allow her, literally, and kind of carried on with the night. And then afterwards, obviously, they finished eating. And that's when Mariam, requested for the ladies to go to the rooftop. That's where they've got a beautiful rooftop bar, and that's where they were going to have the karaoke. So the ladies go up there, and there's someone already kind of testing out the karaoke, etc. Hands over the microphone. So I think most of them had access to microphones, and they were singing along, and they actually ended up having a really good time. Moody Laura was no longer moody. She was there twerking away. The one that actually found really hilarious was the fact that Toyin was there, trying to sing the karaoke, but she was twerking while singing the karaoke. I'm like, okay, so we twerk karaoke now? Is it a thing? Is it a thing to twerk karaoke these days? But for the most part, the ladies were actually having a really good time. They were dancing away. They were all smiles, and they had basically a good time. And then that kind of ends the night. I'm like, okay, apart from the lateness situation and Laura being moody, overall, it was actually a good night, and the women actually had a lot of fun. And we go over to the next day. The next day, or however how many days it was, we see Chioma is prepping for her Goodway Foundation, which she says she established in the year 2018, and it's a foundation she created to help the girl child, to help people in need, the less privileged, and to help with, I think, eradicate sickle cell as well, because as everybody knows, if you don't know this, sickle cell is something that's actually quite high within the Black community, and not enough Black people actually donate their blood, and so a lot of people end up dying because there's not enough blood donors. You literally lose nothing when you give blood. So I would highly encourage people to actually give their blood, go to the hospital. I know you can be paranoid about these governments and stuff like that, but at the same time, your conspiracy theories is coming at a cost of someone's life that you could possibly help save. I'm just putting it out there. You can go out there and actually give your blood, and it will help other people who are just like us be able to actually manage sickle cell, because people who suffer from sickle cell do end up in hospital quite a lot, and a lot of them need a bone marrow transplant. A lot of people need blood, and there's never enough, because not enough Black people are actually going to the hospitals and actually giving their blood. Okay, that's a little bit of a side note when it comes to that. But as a matter of fact, I'm going to rewind a little bit, guys. There is something that I skipped that I feel like was very important to touch on. When the ladies were sat down, they were having a really important conversation about abuse, and they started talking about the type of abuse that Toyin actually went through. She went through an abusive relationship where she herself could not tell that she was in an abusive relationship. It was the people who were around her that were able to actually tell her that she was actually in an abusive relationship. Because sometimes when you're in those situations, you get manipulated so much, you're made to feel and think that it's actually normal for them to abuse you, whether it's physically or emotional. And I think the emotional abuse is even worse, in the sense that it's hard. You don't always have proof unless people witness it, and because you don't get physical bruises or anything like that, it's hard for people to actually know that you're actually in an abusive relationship, So because I feel like mental abuse is just as bad to a degree as physical abuse, because you find people who end up taking their own lives because they've been made to feel so much lesser than who they are, to the point where they feel their life is worthless, so that when things go bad or they're in a very bad place, they're suffering depression or anxiety, whatever it is, it doesn't take much for them to take their own lives. And so it was really interesting for her to actually talk about this, and talk about this vulnerable side of her life that she used to have. Now she's in a different relationship, in a happy relationship, but that was part of her past, where she did go through a very mentally abusive relationship, where it took her friends and people around her to actually bring it to her attention. That's just a little something that I thought I would touch on, because I forgot to mention it. I think it's important to mention it. Now, going back to Chioma's preparation to go and make the donations of the bag to the kids, she then gets on the phone with Mariam. to just thank her for, you know, inviting her at her home and how they had a really good time, etc. And as they're having this discussion, Mariam actually brings up the fact that Laura was literally outright hating. I was like, oh, I did not expect Mariam to call out Laura, because do you remember, guys, okay, a couple of episodes ago, Laura literally was already anticipating falling out with Mariam. But it's like she just decided in her mind that she was going to have a falling out with Mariam. You know, that's how Laura saw it. She decided, I'm going to have a falling out with you. You know, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can say to change my mind. And up to now, she has no real grounds to have a falling out with Mariam at all. You know, so the fact that she was acting like that in her home, it's one thing if they were at a, you know, a venue that was kind of like, neutral, you know, somewhere where you can't take someone's behavior and attitude personally. You came in this woman's home and you gave such a stinky attitude for no reason whatsoever, you know, over something that's got nothing to do with the host. So it made no sense. And so Mariam felt like she was hating, and she outright told Chioma, and Chioma was like, oh, you know. And there is something that Chioma mentioned, which I kept on forgetting to ask my friends what exactly she meant. Like, people, as like, you should say something about like, oh, she does realize that she has this something to do with her head or something. She's got something in her head. If someone remembers what it is that she said, please put it in the comments, because I'd love to know, first of all, what it is that she said and exactly what that means, you know. And I was like, I wonder what that meant, you know. So they have that discussion, and I'm just like, oh gosh, it is actually going south on Laura's situation right now. This is not good. And then obviously they go on to the next scene, which is they've got Caroline and Chioma in the car. And as they are in the car, a whole bunch of text messages start to come through. And I'm like, uh-oh, I let myself go. No, but really, I was just like, oh my freaking gosh. Like, it literally, guys, went from 0 to 100. And yes, I've got those screenshots. I have got those screenshots. So I hope I have them in the right order. I'm not sure if I have them in the right order, but at this point, doesn't even really matter. It's the fact that we're going to get at least some kind of context as to how this thing went completely left, guys. Completely left. So here's the first one. Okay. Yeah, you can still see me on the screen because this is literally, you know, screenshots. So I'm going to be seeing, can I read them? I don't know if I'm able to even view them properly right now. Hang on. I'm not going to read everything because there's a lot of swear words and stuff like that. There's some stuff that's been redacted, as you can see. So that's Laura. She said, we'll drop this here. We'll drop this here. The next time there is, hang on, let me go closer. The next time there is a gathering of all the ladies and it's lunch, I'll make sure I put my kids to sleep, then start my makeup, hair and dress for dinner. If there's something can't caution some of the ladies, then yeah, we'll need to start without them. If who do you think was mentioned in there that was redacted? And she's like, I didn't want to say anything at Mariam's dinner because I've been late a couple of times myself, and of course trying to avoid being called bitter, redacted. But when call time is 1 p.m. and you come past 9, or that's the height or something, what's that? So that's the height in real life. I would never have waited. Did you say waited for Chioma and Caro? Not happening. I would have left at 7 p.m. And I'm like, okay, guys, I don't think I'm going to read through all these text messages because it's quite a lot to read. So the next one that comes through is, I think Caroline is responding, saying, Laura, in real life, okay, anyway, in real life, I think she's trying to say in real life, I won't be any close to you. Too big for such. You have been leaving terrible comments concerning me, and really I do not care anymore. The entire team of this show, she called it a show, she must have been either typing fast because there's a lot of autocorrect going on, of this show, can test that out. Of all of us, I'm always the first or second on, again, redacted. Do not take one moment of coming late due to circumstances beyond my control to insult me. I will not tolerate that. Enough of the smirk remarks from you. If you have an issue with my time yesterday, then speak with the team to know what truly happened from my end. Okay. So that's Caroline giving her side of the story. And then Laura comes, oh, that's the same one, my bad. Let's keep it moving. I think this was, hang on, this third one. I'll drop this. Okay, I've got some repeated ones, my bad, guys. And so this other one says, Caroline is like, I can't cure your inferiority complex, Han. You need lots of love. Laura's like, who's this? Who's this though? Chioma or Carol? I'm like, oh girl, what you're not gonna do is that. And Carol was like, Chief Carolyna Hutchings. I am dead. Okay, you know, this is actually the first time I'm fully reading the messages because they were literally rushing through the screen. It's like, Chief Carolyna Hutchings. Laura, it's me. Enough is enough from you. I come early all the time. All the time. Okay, not all the time. All the time. Before you. No one should tag me again. I can laugh. Does not mean I will tolerate insults again. Cheers. Okay. And then more texts come through. Oh, wait. Is this? Hang on. I think some stuff have not been sent through, or maybe, like I said, I might not be in order. But here, Caroline is now super mad. She's like, you got a PIG. I don't want to repeat that. Even with the cheap money, you are still lost. You are glad you are on this, I'm assuming, show, on this show with me. Useless cheapskate, flipping egg. Something shadow with no name. What shadow? Is she a ghost of a shadow? A shadow of a ghost? You know, then Laura's like, you think everyone is like you, as pretty as you are, nothing to show for it. No house, no decent livelihood. And then Caroline's like, nothing to show. We can start putting everything on the table from Monday. And then Laura is like, you're a B, you know, yeah, you're a child without a dad, basically. To say I have been pimped, never done runs, never will. You won't understand. And I think that's when Caroline actually sends us something saying that she got pimped. Hang on, that could be the next message. Oh, Laura is like, I don't give open my legs and still not own anything. You have no pedigree, hun. None. Okay, this is Laura to Caroline. Caroline's like, get lost, bunch of street prostitute. Don't ever in your short Manchester. I'm dead. Did she just call her a short Manchester? In your short Manchester life, come for me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, pretty much. I think that's literally all the messages. Obviously, they're not in the exact order, but it gives you some context as to the exchanges that were going. Now, one of the text messages, which I think I might have maybe not screenshot, or it was verbally mentioned whilst they were in the car, was that basically Caroline was saying that Laura got pimped, you know, she got pimped out and she was there, she saw it. And I'm like, you were there. You saw it. What were you doing there? Caroline, what were you doing there? If you were there and you saw another woman getting pimped out and you said nothing, what were you doing there? Because at the end of the day, at this point, you're, what's the word? You're incriminating yourself, girl. You're literally incriminating yourself. And so that kind of like is how the episode ends. And then obviously they show us a preview of the next episode to come, which is basically touching on the continuation of this, where we see Laura having a conversation with her husband and basically saying she too, you know, was pimped out. I said, wait, did she say she too? Is Laura actually admitting that she was pimped out and so was Caroline? And I'm like, some real dirt down and dirty secrets are about to come all the way out next episode. So I mean, the thing is, sometimes these shows will tease us and say, oh, you know, give it all of that, and then it might just go wah, 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 you know, and it might not really get to anything, you know, and anything gritty. But this was like, whoa, what on earth just happened? What did I just watch? It was a lot. It was exciting. It was intriguing. With that said, guys, I'm now gonna open up the lines briefly, you know, because whew, child, I could do with a bit of a break and other people kind of give me the commentary, because I would really love to know what other people have to say about this. Okay. I'm going to drop the link. Hang on, let me just collect it real quick. Okay. And dropping the link right now to y'all. I'm dropping the link if you want to join in this conversation and give your 2 cents, because I'm sure there's some people who are really eager to give their 2 cents. As you know, I'm gonna wait only but for a few minutes because I don't like to sit here and just twiddle my thumbs. Come in here and give me your thoughts. I would love to hear what people have to say. If you've got an opinion, jump on in this chat. This is your opportunity, guys. It's a Friday, so you've got nowhere to rush to tomorrow, okay? So yeah. But whilst I wait to see if anybody's gonna come to the chat, I just want to send a quick little reminder to everybody who is watching right now. Please, if you are watching on YouTube, please do not forget, of course, to give the video that you're watching from right now a like. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, girl or guy, what are you waiting for? Like, for real, it's free. Like, literally a little click and that's it, and you've subscribed and it's done. No harm, no foul, and you just get to receive updates every time we upload new content. And of course, click on that little bell button so that you can receive notifications every time we go live and every time we upload new content. And of course, those who are watching over on Facebook, do not forget to give us the thumbs up. We need the thumbs up, guys. Every time you give us a thumbs up, every time you share our videos, it helps us be more discoverable within the algorithm all across social media. The more people watch, the more it helps our channel grow, the more it helps us bring you more content, not just this review of this reunion. Gosh, I don't know why I thought of reunion. Not just the review of this particular Real Housewives show, but other content that might be of interest to you. We'll be able to do a lot more, and it will help us out a lot if you click that like button, share the video, and of course subscribe and follow the channel. So on Facebook, please follow the pages that you are watching from, particularly TGZ Magazine's page. If you're watching from there, please follow the page, tweak those notifications so that you can receive alerts every time we upload new content. And for those who are wondering, okay, what other content do you actually have? Well, I'm glad you asked. The other content we actually have is TGZ TV is an extension of TGZ Magazine, which is our magazine platform where we post about everything to do with entertainment, lifestyle, pop culture, and current affairs. We post new stories every single day, so you can go on there and actually subscribe to the website to receive those updates. And of course, feel free to follow us on social media. We are over on Instagram as the Global Zambian Magazine, and obviously on Twitter we're there as TGZ_magazine, where you can receive tweets that we tweet and all our website actually posts and articles go directly onto Twitter. And also anything that we post on our website, we do post it over on we do post them over on Instagram as well. So you can follow us on Instagram and see what other things that we are posting over. But for the most part, I think, was that the end of the episode? I think that was pretty much that car scene. That car scene over there is the one that finalized the episode. That was pretty much the end of it. Next week's episode looks to be absolutely insane. Okay, it looks to be absolutely insane because not only do we see Laura implicating herself as she's trying to tell her side of the story or whatever, and because she's talking to her husband and she says something along the lines of, they're trying to destroy my marriage. And like, girl, you're talking to your husband. They're trying to destroy your marriage. So you're supposed to say our marriage. Like, the marriage doesn't belong to you alone, no. The marriage does not belong to you alone, girl. They're trying to destroy your marriage as a unit, right? Not you as an individual, all right? And then also it goes to another scene where they literally call up a meeting, and I think it's Iyabo that calls the meeting, and she outright says, we're calling this meeting because of you, and she points out Laura. And at one point things literally go completely left, where Laura is trying to throw a water bottle. She's literally even opening it so she can throw it to Caroline. Caroline is like, oh, no, we're not doing that. She gets up in her suit, her glittering suit, and literally lunges across. Whilst that's happening, we see teeny tiny Mariam. You know how skinny Mariam is. I actually love Mariam. Mariam was actually my favorite in this episode. Mariam literally flies like Supergirl across to try and block Caroline, but in her effort to try and block Caroline, because she's a teeny tiny person, she lands only by the edge briefly and falls to the floor, and she has to kind of like huddle herself down like this, because now by then Caroline has already arrived and she's literally going in on Laura. Now, we don't know if there's a punch that landed or anything like that, but it literally goes left. We don't know how much it accumulates. It culminates in the sense that we don't know how quick security were at breaking them up and kind of stopping that fight from happening. But I feel like in this situation, to a degree, I feel like Laura's kind of feeling for a beating, because she spent so much time being a thug in the confessionals. At one point, she even said, Chioma can't brush me. Even if I had one hand behind my back and one hand free, she wouldn't be able to brush me. But now look what's happened, Laura, And for me, it's one of those situations in here where obviously I would rather not see Black women fight. I don't advocate for violence, and it's a sad situation. And I know people live for the drama and for the tea, and I like the drama, and I hate that it has to come this far. With that said, I do wish Laura wouldn't push people's buttons to push them to that degree, but at the same time, obviously people need to practice some constraint. With that said, I have to commend the producers, even if, again, the sounding technician failed us when they were in the living room. In the scene in the living room, the sound was really bad. It's like Iyabo didn't even have a microphone, and her sound was coming off of the other ladies' microphones. So guys, production, you need to fix the sound issue that you're constantly having, because that's the issue I've had from time to time with this show. The sound has been bad in parts, which I've not appreciated one iota. Okay. But otherwise, I do commend them for picking a really good ensemble cast, because they do work well in the sense that they don't all automatically just want to favor the other one. They're able to actually call each other out, and they're able to stand up for what they feel is right, and they don't do that much backbiting, or any for that matter, because whatever it is that is discussed in someone's absence ends up being brought to the table, and they discuss it without anyone having to kind of like back away and retract their statement or claim that that's not what they said, etc., that sort of thing. You know what I mean? The only one that I've seen that's tried to kind of sort of do that has been Laura, but she's now paying the price for it, because look at how now her image is looking. It's not a good look for her, and it's a shame that this is her real life. I wish this wasn't her real life, but unfortunately this is part of her real life. The show is part of her real life, and I would hate, I'm hoping there's some resolution by the time this series ends, because I still don't know how many episodes we're yet to receive for the entire season. We're just going to keep reviewing it every single Friday and just hope for the best, I guess. I think that honestly is everything. I have not much more to say. Like I said in the beginning, the episode started off really slow, because for the most part it was the photo shoot, and then it went on to the ladies just having, there's a lot of dialogue going on in the living room. They spent a lot of time in the living room as they were waiting for the other ladies. I mean, that was 4 hours of film time that was kind of sort of wasted, because I feel like maybe had they been on time, they would have had more film time on the dinner table and then in the karaoke section, I think. But obviously they ran out of time, and so they had to kind of just stretch it out as much as they possibly could. I'm assuming that's why it ended up the way it did. So yeah, that's pretty much the episode, guys. And that brings me to the end of my live review of the Real Housewives of Lagos, episode 7. We're going to be back again next week, obviously, as we review episode 8, which is going to be full of fire by the looks of things. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that has come through in the chat, everyone that has come to grace us. Thank you very much, Steph. Thank you. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you for people who are constantly supporting. Thank you for everybody who's been just helping the channel grow and the brand, TGZ brand, grow. I appreciate you all so very much, but otherwise I am going to call it a night and have me a drink of water, because I'm now let me stop. Otherwise, guys, until next time, from myself and my team, hang on, I need to make sure that I get rid of, I've left a comment up. Oh my gosh, it's a Friday, it is what it is. Yeah, otherwise, from myself and from my team, have yourself a lovely weekend, and we'll see you back again next week. Bye.
You are watching TGZ TV.
The Global Zambian, the only magazine that celebrates quality, cross-culture lifestyle and entertainment.